Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in! Hunt Palmer coming to you from Mercedes-Benz Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. It means we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Lots to get to over the next couple of hours. Jacob Beck, Paul O'Neill back there on the ones and twos. Fired up, you're hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. For LouisianaSports.net over the weekend, ranked LSU's position groups 1 to 10. I'm going to talk through that over the next couple of segments. It's What If Wednesday. We're still looking for a few of those. So if you're filed in the Bayou Ford chat or hearing me now, and you can catch me on Twitter at HuntPalmer88, fire a What If at us. We'll get to that. Meet the freshmen. Still got to get to that. Some sound from the Saints as they head out to Southern California. Saints are on the ground out in Southern California. They'll go through a couple of practices and take on the Chargers on Sunday. LSU's basketball SEC schedule has been released, so we'll talk about that as well. Lots and lots to do. Let's crank things up the way we do every single day with our Genesis opening drive.
It's time for Hunt's opening drive, presented by Genesis of Baton Rouge.
This is kind of going to be a two-segment opening drive here, but we'll start it with the top half. As I mentioned there at the top, I ranked LSU's position groups 1 through 10. Started with, I went through them as they have position coaches. So the offensive line's together. I didn't split that center, guard, tackle. So you got offensive line, you got tight end, you got wide receiver, you got running back, you got quarterback, you got defensive tackles because they have a coach in Kyle Williams. You got edge players, that's Kevin Peoples. You got linebackers, Blake Baker. You've got the corners, and you've got the safety. So I went through and split it up that way. There's 10 position groups, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on each side of the ball. It makes sense. How about that? So I went through and ranked them 1 through 10 for LouisianaSports.net, and I kind of want to talk through that. Now, keep in mind, and I feel like I often toss this disclaimer out, but I'm one to do those types of things. So I don't want to be taken completely out of context or feel like I'm completely out of touch when things happen. This is early in camp. It's a weekend. It's what I've seen. We've gotten a decent amount of access. We've gotten probably, if I had to run the numbers there, we started on Wednesday, got like an hour and a half. Then we had Saturday, I saw about an hour and a half, so that's 3 hours. Then Monday, we saw 2 hours. I've seen about 5 hours of work at this point, which is not completely insignificant, but when you boil it down to the entirety of the season, is pretty insignificant. So I'm giving you kind of based on what I've seen with a little bit of baked-in bias based on past production, based on transfers and their rating and their production elsewhere, a little bit of position coaches baked in. So it's just kind of what I've seen, my opinion. And it starts at the top. We'll go 1 through 5 in this segment, and then we'll hit the second 5 in the following segment. I gave the edge rushers the top spot here, and that may not be the most prevalent opinion. I think there are probably some position groups that are a little bit more proven. You realize you're relying on a lot of transfers at that edge spot. But to me, I like the way this looks on paper, and I've loved the way it's looked on the field through a week. Jack Pyburn has played mostly edge, but he's certainly played some tackle as well. His production at Florida is really impressive to me. To have 60 tackles as an edge player who doesn't really play on third down for the Gators is a big deal in stopping the run. And Pyburn's physical. He's big. He's a wild man. He's done it in the SEC. I don't have to worry about transferring up from a lower level. He, to me, is a proven commodity. Then you've got Patrick Payton, who early on in the first 2 workouts I saw was really difficult to block. He notched a sack in the shoulder pad and helmet, the shells practice that we got to see. He had a monster amount of production at Florida State. He's got all the length and size you could want, and he's got Kevin Peoples coaching him. I think Patrick Payton is in for a really big year. I like what he looks like out there. He's running with the twos right now, and I think he's going to have an impactful year. Jamari Butler is big and physical and started a lot of games and played really well against Florida State last year. He's a guy that I actually was standing like right next to at practice the other day, and that's a guy like, yeah, that's just a really physically impressive dude. And he's running with the twos mostly as well. He's running a little bit with the ones. But Butler is a proven veteran commodity. He's a really good athlete who was a very good high school basketball player until he kind of stopped growing and started filling out. And Nebraska looked and said, hey, man, you might want to try football instead of trying to hang with basketball. And he did. And now you're looking at 5 years later since that decision was made, and he's a good athlete who's now 255 pounds and can really play defensive end for a Power 5 team, which he did last year for Nebraska. And then you look at the guys that are returning, and Gabe Relaford's one of those, and he's had a really good start to camp as well. Big-time recruit that LSU locked up out of Shreveport. And you talk about those 4 guys as the first 2 teams, that's a lot of proven production, a lot of athleticism with the great position coach. And then you kind of sprinkle in Dylan Carpenter, who I think, if this group wasn't as deep and talented, would probably play a good bit. I like this edge group as the best position group I've seen so far out there at LSU practice. Number 2 is an obvious one, and I think this would probably be number 1 for a lot of people. It's wide receiver. I think LSU's wide receiver group is phenomenal, and that is without Aaron Anderson doing anything right now. Hopefully today he's out there practicing. We won't know until we get out there. I know today's Wednesday, so yeah, tomorrow's their off day. They were going to try to get him practicing today. We certainly would anticipate seeing him on Friday. But either way, that's a guy who had over 800 yards receiving last year. I think he's going to be another really, really impactful player this year. Berrien Brown has been explosive in the big play passing game early on. I think Kyle Parker has had a really nice start to camp. He's catching everything, a lot of short-range stuff for Parker. Nick Anderson is healthy and going through drills, which is something we really wanted to see. He's already proven himself at the Power 4 level. Xavion Thomas is probably more involved than I thought he would be at this point. He's making some plays out there. It's a scary group, and it's, in my opinion, led by Chris Hilton, who I didn't mention there at the front because I think he deserves to be mentioned at the back as the guy who I think is going to be the leading receiver on this team. I'm going to ask the entire radio station for LouisianaSports.net station survey who they think the number 1 receiver on this team is going to be, who the leading receiver is going to be. My answer is going to be Chris Hilton. I think he's having another dynamite early camp, and I think he's going to be a problem for teams to deal with his speed and now his route running, the way he catches the ball, his veteran presence. Like this is high-end talent and its depth. I think receiver is in a great spot. I've got that at number 2. Number 3 is really a star-driven pick for me here for position groups. We've got edges at 1, receiver at 2. Number 3, I'm going to go quarterback because when you've got one of the best 5 quarterbacks in the country by just about every preseason magazine, vote, coaches poll, athletic ranking, whatever you want to call it, Nussmeier comes in the top 5, top 3, top 1. I think he's going to have an awesome year if they can protect him. He's already proven that. He threw for the 2nd highest total in the history of LSU football last year. But I have him at 3 because the backups have had their issues. They've had their issues with accuracy in 7-on-7, decision-making in 7-on-7, and then when things speed up and the pass rush is there in the 11-on-11 periods, it hasn't looked great. There have been moments, and they're the backup quarterback, so I'm not asking for phenomenal play all the time. But there have been some accuracy issues and some turnover issues for the young quarterbacks, so I can't put the group as a whole up at the top. I moved them down to number 3. So you've got edge, wide receiver, quarterback, 1, 2, 3. Number 4, I'll take tight end. I think this tight end group is really, really good, and honestly, it's too deep. I mean, J.D. LaFleur, I don't expect to see a lot from as a freshman. Donovan Green is a blocking piece that I think if it needed to be sprung into action due to injury, would be able to go out there and function. He did so at Texas A&M 2 years ago. But when you look at Bauer Sharp and Trey'Dez Green, they look great. Bauer Sharp is catching everything around the line of scrimmage. They're running a lot of screens to him. They're going to use his athleticism, and he's built to go out there and block a little bit as well. And then Trey'Dez Green, you all know about. I don't really need to expound on that. I talked about a great play he made on the sideline yesterday right in front of me. I kind of thought he didn't get the heel in, but it was on one view. I don't get an instant replay, and everybody else, including the official, thought he got a heel in. So we'll go with it. Reception down the right sideline. But he's a freak athlete. He's doing a great job in terms of catching the ball. He's really difficult for any of these guys to cover. And so those two complementing each other, I think, is really, really advantageous for LSU. I've said this since the summer. I've said this before they put pads on. I've said this relentlessly, and I'm not in any position right now to back off of it. I don't think LSU is taking a step back in tight end, and that understands that you're losing the most productive player in the history of the school at that position. I still don't think LSU takes a step back. I think Bauer Sharp, Trey'Dez Green, and Donovan Green combined for as many catches and as many yards as last year Mason Taylor, Kamorian Pimpton, and Trey'Dez Green did. I think you're going to be what and what from that, even with the most productive player moving out. That's how much I think of this tight end group. I've got them at 4. And through the first 4 position groups, I don't really have a lot of questions outside of backup quarterback. And the plan is, if you're going to chase a championship, you don't use the backup quarterback. You may have to, and if we get to that point, you understand where I stand on that. But I don't have a lot of questions through that first 4. Question is probably not the right word for safety. I think it's just options. But I don't know who the starter is at safety, and that's what I have at number 5 to round out this front part. I think safety is in a much, much, much better spot than it was last year. Much better. And y'all know where I stand on this. I think A.J. Halsey is a starter. I've said this 3 times already. We're a week into camp. But I also think Jordan Gilbert has made some plays. He made a nice play yesterday coming up in coverage. He missed a tackle on Caden Durham's big run, but a lot of the safeties have made a mistake here or there. But Deshaun Spears is a big talent, and I think Tamarcus Cooley is such a high floor player that if you put him and A.J. Halsey out there in the first game against Clemson, I think you're going to get really solid play. Do I think that there's a better chance that Deshaun Spears is a top 20 pick in the NFL draft than Tamarcus Cooley? Yes. Do I think Tamarcus Cooley is a better college player than Deshaun Spears right now? Yes. Both of those can be true. But you're talking about a lot of options here. And if Halsey is the dude I think he is, and then you find one of these other guys to step in and play, I haven't even mentioned Toviano, but he needs to be tossed into this group, then you've got a group that is better than they were last year. Last year, they just were not any good at safety. And this year, when I look at it, I don't have big questions. I just have options. And I think those options are higher floor than you saw last year, where the floor was pretty low for LSU at safety, meaning you're getting guys ripping off 60-yard touchdown runs a lot early in the season. So that's my top 5 position groups at LSU. You got edge 1, wide receiver 2, quarterback at 3, tight end at 4, safety at 5. That's where I stand on the top half of the roster. And to be really honest, I feel great about all of those positions. I don't start to have sincere questions about LSU until really you get to at least number 8 on this list. So we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, and we'll get to 6 through 10 on my position group rankings. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Vaughn and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. Safety can be a big, big issue in the bathroom, especially as folks age. Y'all know that by now. I've been telling you for over a year. And it doesn't remain any less true. If there's someone in your life that's getting up in age and you feel like there could be a hazardous situation presenting itself in the bathroom, do what you can to mitigate. You can't take that risk away. You can mitigate against it. David Vaughn and his team can do non-slip floors. They can do guardrails around slippery areas. They can do walk-in tubs that are safer, more convenient. They can do showers with benches. They do these types of things all the time. They don't have to be some massive project. They can get in there and do it in a time-effective manner and a cost-effective manner. And if you're concerned about the payment, there are financing options available, 0% up to 18 months if you qualify. Go to the website and get that free consultation. Have David come out, see the property, and have a conversation about what you'd like to do. Once you get that step done, you can move forward. And he's going to do it right the first time and leave the competition behind. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at the website, onebathandclosets.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe in the dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wildin'.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram is taking $22,500 off MSRP on the brand new 2025 Ram 1500 Laramie with $22,500 off MSRP with a complimentary 7-year powertrain warranty that comes with all new Bayou Automotive vehicles. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
River Parish Contractors has immediate openings for structural steel shop fabricators. Call or text Big Jake today at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com and click on employment. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Family-owned and community-driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. At the end of this read, I'll give you the phone number for my guy, Joey Blanchard. He, of course, is the owner of Renaissance Homes and Pools. If you've been thinking all summer, it is so hot, and I just need to get that swimming pool put in. I've wanted to do it forever, and I just haven't gotten it done, and now it's just so hot I got to do it. Well, you call Renaissance Homes and Pools. That's who you call. Because Joey's been doing this for decades. He's helped dozens and dozens and dozens of Baton Rouge area families. And the best part about working with Renaissance Homes and Pools is you work with Joey directly the entire time. He's the owner. You don't get someone who might be looking at another job or who doesn't really want to be there and reports to somebody else and maybe jumps in the middle of your project and you got to deal with. No, you're going to deal with Joey. And he's going to be there because he's the owner. He's going to be there for the consultation, for the design and the layout. He'll be there for the dig. When the pool is filled and finished, you get Joey the whole time. And it's an amazing process that he really enjoys going through with you. So give him a call at 225-252-7745. Again, 225-252-7745. You can see some pictures and some videos of their phenomenal work at builtbyrenaissance.com. And you can also put your contact information there and have them contact you through the website. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools, builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, we're chugging along through my position rankings, which I did this weekend for LouisianaSports.net. Top 5 were, of course, edge number 1, wide receiver number 2, quarterback number 3, tight end number 4, and then safety number 5. So we get to number 6, and I'll be honest, we got to number 6 out of 10. We're better than halfway done, and I still feel really good about where this position is. And this is kind of a testament to where I think this roster is as a whole. Linebacker is 6, and I think LSU is going to be great at linebacker. I mean, you've got Whit Weeks, who's a proven commodity. He was second in the SEC in tackles last year. He's an All-American preseason. He's certainly an All-Conference player preseason. He's fast. He's strong. He's instinctive. He's going to be a wrecking ball for LSU's defense this year. And right now, West Weeks is running next to him. We talked to West back on Saturday, and he said he's just having a blast being out there with Week. It feels like high school again. Both of them are healthy. Obviously, both dealt with injuries last year. West forced a redshirt year. Witts cut his bowl game short and kind of took him out for the spring. But they're finally back together playing as the starting linebackers now that Greg Penn's moved on. So they haven't really had this opportunity. And he feels like their chemistry is an advantage because they've obviously grown up together, lived together, and it's a real football house over there in the Weeks residence currently. And so those two guys are kind of the stalwarts in the middle. You've got Devon Keys, who was kind of thrust into playing duty last year because West got hurt. And he did a pretty good job late in the season, was pretty productive. I know the flashy play he made was the pick six against Baylor. I'll give him some credit for catching the tipped ball and for running. It was not the most difficult play he's ever made in a football uniform, but hey, he was out there, he's around the football, and he made it happen. So those are your three guys that are right there in the middle of the defense. And, of course, you've got Perkins playing the star, which for this purposes is going to be linebacker, and he really looks good. I know that we've talked a lot in the last 3 days about the plays that he's made, but I like the fact that the 3 plays that he made were doing the things that he's best at doing. That's rushing the passer, he got a sack. That's covering in the flat. He chased down Bauer Sharp and would have made a stop at the line of scrimmage if they were going full tackle. And then he had an interception in the secondary, basically, in the middle of the field against Garrett Nussmeier in 7-on-7, which was an athletic play and one he's very capable of making. I don't want him on the line of scrimmage all the time. I don't want him in the middle of the field all the time. I want him running and making plays left to right. And then when you need to get to the line of scrimmage and rush the passer in obvious passing downs, do that. But he's obviously a heck of a player, and I think LSU is in really, really good shape at the linebacker spot with really those 4 guys. Tylen Singleton is getting some run. Charles Ross is getting some run. There is some young depth there, but the guys that are going to do the majority of the playing, should everyone stay healthy, especially in that Clemson game right out of the chute, I think it's a really good position group. And for it to be ranked 6th in this ranking, I think it tells you how much I feel about LSU's entire roster. Then you get to 7, where I still feel great about where LSU is. It's running back. There's so much upside at running back. Now, Caden Durham, to me, is one of the 3 most consistent performers out there. I just have a piece up at LouisianaSports.net. You can go read why I feel this way. But my top 3 performers through a week of spring ball are obviously Bernard Gooden, who's caught everyone's eye. And then I have Ashton Stamps, who I talked about yesterday on the show, who I think is having a great camp. And Caden Durham was my 3rd guy. He's just so consistent. He's busted a big run every day we've been out there. And what I've loved about Caden Durham is his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. If you remember, which you'll all remember the South Alabama play, threw the swing pass to him on the first play of the game, and he took it 80 yards, touchdown. That shows what he can do. But he also had a big touchdown catch in the second half against UCLA that he caught and railed on the left sideline, which was awesome. He can do that as well as run and hit the home run ball. And I really like his ability. Hester said that he thinks he can be a first-team All-League back. I don't disagree with that. I think the offensive line needs to get it together for him to do that, but you got time to get those guys together. Caleb Jackson has lost some weight and I think has a lot of talent, and I told you yesterday that Harlem Berry is really working a lot with the first team as the second back. And so those 3 guys are getting the lion's share of the reps, and if you're going to add Juwan Johnson to this mix, which it appears they are, I like that wrinkle too, and it adds to the depth, which was my biggest concern with running back from the start. If you go out there and you just have Caden Durham, Caleb Jackson, Harlem Berry, JT Lindsey, well, you got one guy who's proven himself in Durham. You've got one guy in Caleb Jackson who, big, fast, strong, yeah, productive, no. And you got 2 true freshmen. That's not enough juice in that room. That's not enough depth. Well, if you add Juwan Johnson to it, who we know is a dynamic athlete, who put up the most total yards and touchdowns in Louisiana high school history, now all of a sudden, if that's your 5th guy who maybe is your 3rd or 4th guy, depending on the situation, okay, that makes me feel a little bit better. You got the high-end talent that's there with Durham. You do have some guys to back him up. I like where running back is. I can't put it any higher than 7th because there are some questions towards the back end there with freshmen and a transplanted player in Juwan Johnson, but I love Durham, and I think he's going to be awesome. So that's 7 at running back. Now you get to this spot in the roster, and it took us down to 8, which is a pretty long way down the list here to get to some sincere questions. It starts at cornerback. I don't have a lot of questions right now about Ashton Stamps. You just heard me say I think he's been among the best players on LSU's roster this fall, this camp. I think he's going to have a really good year. Mansour Delane has had a good camp. He looks good physically. He did have some pass interference issues and some touchdown issues last year at Virginia Tech, but he also had some really good games. He's caught some professional attention with his tape. He's got some ability. But would I call him a lockdown, proven SEC corner? Not right now. And then you got P.J. Woodland, who is undersized, although he's had a good camp. You've got DJ Pickett, who is freakishly tall, but is trying to get his feet on the ground, and they're, as we talked about yesterday, throwing him to the fire. He's going against Chris Hilton on every rep, and Chris Hilton's the best wide receiver I think LSU's got. So he's learning fast. But you've got questions about those guys. Now, I'll tell you this, because I gave a lot of credit to Kevin Peoples for my thought at edge being the top on this list. I credit Corey Raymond with being able to develop corners. So while I do have question marks about this group, I have confidence in the guy who's molding it. And so you look at Stamps potentially emerging as a true number one. You look at Delane as a proven veteran who can maybe take one more step forward as a college player and be a solid number two. And then you've got choices, whether it's Jakeem Jackson, P.J. Woodland, DJ Pickett, for the next guy who's going to step up and be a really serviceable player for LSU. I think you're going to take your lumps here at times. You're not going to be a no-fly zone here. But I do think there's real potential. At this point, those question marks are going to be more pronounced than the positions I've gone 1 through 7. So I've got to drop corner down towards number 8. But it's not as if I think this is a crisis at cornerback. I do not. I think there are just some question marks that need to be figured out over the next 3 weeks before you play 3 damn good wide receivers at Clemson with a quarterback who could be a first-round pick. We think it's going to be a first-round pick this coming year. So cornerback is number 8. Number 9, only got 2 left here in my position rankings. I got defensive tackle here. Now look, there's real upside here, defensive tackle. If I do this exercise in November, it wouldn't surprise me if defensive tackle made the top 5. But right now, I'm in wait-and-see mode with it. Because Bro and McKinley played last year. Do I know they've taken a step forward? I can't speak to that right now. Certainly very possible. Certainly very plausible even that they have. But I haven't seen it quite yet. And those are the first 2 guys that were out there. We are ranting and raving about Bernard Gooden, and for great reason. He's been a good, if you want to use a terrible play on words. He's been awesome. Probably the best player out there in terms of impact through a week. Let's see it come game time. From the American to practice to the games. I think there's reason to think he's going to be very good, but it's early. Jacoby and Guillory coming off the Achilles injury. What does that look like? You haven't really seen anything from Sydir Mitchell or Sean Washington. You got 3 freshmen. They got a lot of bodies, but a defensive tackle, I'm not completely sold on this group at this point. Again, I may come at you by Halloween and go, well, nobody can block Gooden. He's as impactful an interior pass rusher as there is in the Southeastern Conference. Bro and McKinley have emerged as true SEC high-end players. Bro's getting in the backfield. McKinley's making TFLs. And Jacoby and Guillory is exactly what we thought he is. He's holding the point of attack. He's making some plays at the line of scrimmage and letting those linebackers do their work. And Westweek talked about that with us on Saturday. He said, look, these guys are doing a great job of letting us play a little bit more free. The game's a little bit slower for us because they're disrupting so much on the offensive line. So I'm not down on defensive tackle, but I have to rank them 1 to 10. Somebody's got to go 9th. And I'm going to go with the position that doesn't have a single player that I would suggest has proven himself at the highest level of college football. You can't say that for Bro. Can't say that for McKinley. Can't say that for Gooden. Can't say it for Guillory. Guillory's been a depth piece, so you can call him that, but certainly not a proven starting commodity, and neither for Mitchell or Washington. So potential's there. Right now, I'm not completely sold, and it should come as no surprise based on yesterday's opening monologue what position group I've got at 10. It's the offensive line. And again, this is another group that's got some potential. They've got to play a little bit better. And what I will continue to talk about with the offensive line, because this is optimism season. Y'all know that August is optimism season. I've talked about that since I've got a microphone in front of me. Like, this is the most optimistic time of the year for everybody. If you're a low-end program, could be a year that you're sneaking up on people. If you're a mid-tier program, could be a year that you really contend for a conference title. If you're a high-end program, here's why we're winning the Natty. Like, that's what August is for. So I'm going to continue to stay in tune with that, and I'm not going to go nuts on the offensive line. I don't think there's reason to go nuts on the offensive line. But what I'm clinging to is that the folks that have watched the one-on-ones, Matt's done it for us and has written about it on LouisianaSports.net. He's talked about it on his show. I've read at other different sites who have watched those reps, and I've been watching 7-on-7, and Matt's taking the one-on-one, so we've split for those, and we'll probably flip that next week when we go back out there. But apparently the offensive line is doing a really good job in one-on-ones. They're showing their length and athleticism. They're all 4- and 5-star players. They've got a position coach who's been at this a long time and is really respected. I think there's potential. They've had the biggest issues this week in camp. That's difficult to debate. It would be tough for me to take any of the other 9 position groups and find more pronounced issues than I've seen from the offensive line. However, they've got a lot of time to gel together. It's a group that's never played with each other before, and it's a position group that is quite literally built on connectivity and playing together as one unit. That's what's got to happen. So that's what I've got at number 10. So to start at the top, I've got edge as the number 1 position group at LSU thus far in camp. Wide receiver 2, quarterback 3. That's more based on depth than anything, and the fact that the backups have struggled a tad bit. Tight end at 4, I think they're going to be awesome. Safety at 5, I think they've got a real chance to be great. Linebacker at 6, proven commodities there for sure. Running back at 7, love Durham, need more behind him. Corner at 8, I like the position coach, and I think he's got some options. Tackle at 9 on the defensive side, defensive tackle. Again, looks pretty good in practice. We'll see as they move forward. And then number 10, the offensive line. You can give me your thoughts on that in the Bayou Ford chat or on Twitter at HuntPalmer88. Speaking of those 2 avenues, get your what ifs in. We'll come back and do What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
We'll meet the freshmen in the next segment. Some Saints Sound in hour number 2, plus LSU's basketball schedule is out. So lots to do here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Homer Show. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Every single Wednesday, we're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Saints getting closer to their first preseason game. That'll crank up on Sunday afternoon from L.A. So a lot of that discussion coming up probably on Thursday and Friday shows. The media now settled there in Southern California. They'll be taking in some practice over the next couple of days. Saints not joint practicing with the Chargers, but we'll play them on Sunday. So get some good Saints content coming at you on Thursday and Friday's shows. Right now, though, it's What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question, what if?
Alrighty, first one here. What if restaurants no longer existed and there were only food trucks?
That'd be a major bummer because I love a good dinner experience. I like to get dressed and go to a nice dinner where there's a waiter and you're there for 2 hours. Plus, here, if I can't sit down in a restaurant to enjoy lunch or dinner, it's going to be 97 for like 5 months out of the year.
It's a real problem.
Is a bit of an issue to just sit there and eat. I don't care about the heat if I'm at the pool, or honestly, if I'm even running or if I'm playing golf, I don't really care about the heat. Just sitting there eating a sandwich, it's kind of hot. So I'm pro food truck in a big way. Love a good food truck experience here and there, but I love a restaurant and I want to go, have a, scotch and a big steak and do that whole experience deal. I don't do it a ton, but I like to do it. If that was not available, I'd be a little bummed about that.
Yeah, man, we'd be in trouble in Louisiana, especially Baton Rouge. It'd be a serious problem if you couldn't go inside. I mean, I guess if there were only food trucks, you would just go get the food and you'd have to go home or go somewhere to eat inside.
You'd have to put up a bunch of tents places or something like they did in COVID.
Yes.
Everybody was tenting the parking lot and trying to go out
the fan companies in Louisiana.
I think at some point that becomes a restaurant, doesn't it?
Yeah, it basically is at that point.
So I'm pro restaurant. Let's keep them around.
Yeah, I agree with you. Next one. What if the O-line isn't that good? Example, of course, would be Jaden Daniels' first year.
I've talked about this a lot. If they're not good, it pretty much derails the whole deal. If you can't run the ball and teams can just pin their ears and go get Garrett, just go look at the A&M game last year in the second half. When A&M determined, okay, LSU can't run, and they just started releasing the dogs, the whole offense just combusted. So that's just a big deal. I don't want to talk about it any further for this answer, but I think everyone understands that.
Yeah. Well, inversely, what if LSU's offensive line is struggling because the defensive line is that good?
I don't know that that's impossible. That very well could be a part of the deal here. I think that you've got some real talented defensive linemen on this group, and they're deep, and they're rotating guys in, and they're fresh. I mean, this is not like they're playing their 81st snap, 91st snap of the day when I watch them in practice, like they could be if you face a team that's holding the ball a lot. They're giving you 20 reps of full out football every time in practice, and that's a lot to handle with some of these guys. And these aren't freshmen. Jack Pyburn's a 5th-year dude. Patrick Payton's a 5th-year dude. Jamari Butler's a 4th-year dude. Gabe Relaford's old. Jacobian Guillory's a 6th-year player. Bernard Gooden is a 5th-year player. These guys are old. And so if you look at it, they're a handful. And so I'm not at all ruling out that LSU's offensive line has had its struggles when they struggled. And keep in mind, they have made some plays on offense. It's not like the offense never does anything. The offense has busted a big run every day. When Nussmeier has a little bit of time, he's done a great job getting the ball down the field. He hit Kyle Parker for a big play yesterday. I think there's a real chance the defensive line is good enough to give the LSU offensive line some problems. The deal is that you continue to extrapolate that out. I think Clemson's defensive line is pretty good too.
Yeah.
So you got to block good defensive lines. I think they're working towards that.
All right, next one. What if Baby Beck is early?
Then you probably won't be here tomorrow.
No. And honestly, at this point, I wouldn't even say that you could say she's early. I mean, the due date is Friday, so we're 2 days out from there. So at this point, it would just be on time, in my opinion.
Well, tomorrow would be early.
Early is 2 weeks. Like y'all's. They were 2 weeks. That's early. At this point, I don't think it would be a problem. But of course, yeah. If we're just saying the next 2 days, I'm not going to be here. So.
A lot of pool parties in the future for baby back.
Yeah.
Because none for my kids. I got a December 27th and a March 9th.
Yeah, that's true.
We got good crawfish boil for March 9th. That's solid.
That's a good day.
Myers December 27th. He's just out of luck.
That
he's never gonna have to
sucks.
go to school on his birthday.
That's a really rough one.
He's never gonna have to go to school on his birthday, but he's gonna have some issues with getting people to birthday parties December 27th.
My birthday is January 10th, and even I, even I can get that. So, yeah.
We had a pool party this weekend.
There you go.
There you go.
My daughter's birthday is tomorrow, so we did her birthday.
I love to hear that.
Perfect.
None for the Palmer boys. You're gonna have to find another way.
All right, next one. What if you get one snack and one drink at a road trip gas station stop?
Drink is so easy. I want the biggest cup they have. The hugest, most ridiculous big gulp
like 50
ever
ounce,
of Coke Zero. I want everything you could possibly put in there.
Yeah.
And then for the snack, I have a hard time going against just your classic, the cheddar sour cream Ruffles.
Yeah.
Those are so good. I love them. Like, if I'm going to try to, go up one notch, this is pathetic, but, every gas station now you go in has slices of pizza, all the racetracks and stuff. That's really good.
See, I was gonna say if we need to stipulate whether or not you can get the chicken
hot bar.
or the hot dog or something like that.
I can be a sucker for that gas station pizza on occasion.
I'm gonna say that we should exclude any kind of
The hot
actual
bars.
food. It needs to be something you're getting
snacks.
off the shelf. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be for me. It's gonna be for me the sour cream and cheddar Ruffles. However, I had at a friend's house over the weekend. They had Zaps, and I don't know. It was something like sweet onion or something like that, and they were really good chips, which I had never had before. So I tried. It was really good. But it's probably sour cream and cheddar Ruffles and the biggest Coke Zero I can possibly pour into a cup.
Yeah, I think I actually just discovered what my favorite snack would be now, and it's actually it's Zaps, but it's the blackened ranch. I've never seen this before.
I never seen that at all.
It's not one of their more common flavors, but it's a blue. It's like a light blue bag. That's the color that they have on it, and it's blackened ranch, and it's the best Zaps chip that I've had.
I will definitely try that.
You gotta try it.
When I go to Popeyes, I'm hitting blackened ranch every time.
Yeah, it was extremely good. And then as for a drink, I'll probably go a classic, the Arizona tea, the 99-cent
Never had it,
tall can of Arizona tea. I'll probably go with that. And a side note, I actually recently just decided on a whim to get an Old English 40 ounce. And Hunt, it actually wasn't terrible.
This is a road trip, Beck. That's an open container.
I understand.
Violation.
I understand. I'm just saying.
I've never done that. I've never had a beer on a road trip, Beck. I would never do something like that.
No, of course
That's
not.
against the law,
Of
and
course
that
not.
you definitely could never do that.
No, absolutely not. But I'm just saying, it actually wasn't that bad. I don't know if you ever had one.
It's been since college.
But they actually aren't
Have
that.
you ever heard of the game Edward 40
Oh
Hands?
yeah, of course. That's a tough one. All right, last one. What if you could have free gas or free hotels for life?
I mean, I probably have to go free gas economically because I use gas every day. But man, free hotels would be awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about. Even in the simplest principle, to get a free hotel, for at the beach. Like, I can get to the beach for a couple $100 worth of gas. You can tell me I can stay for a week for free. That's a pretty good gig for the rest of my days. And then you talk about nice hotels and nicer places that you might go than just down the street to the beach. I probably got to go with gas, but I'm reluctant to do it.
Yeah, I think you have to go with gas, especially with just how much the pricing for it can fluctuate. It's a very volatile thing, and you have to have it.
My commute's a little further now.
Yeah.
I was right down the road. Now I'm about 20 minutes to work, so you start to factor that in.
You really do.
Probably gotta.
But hotels would be pretty dang awesome. I mean, that would be really cool.
I love a good hotel.
That's it for What If. I don't know why I said take it or leave it. That's it for What If Wednesday.
We'll do take it or leave it a little later.
We will.
That's What If Wednesday here on this Wednesday. We'll come back and meet the freshmen to close out hour one next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is the website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. Just go by and see them. Just go by and see the people at Genesis of Baton Rouge. It's an incredible team that they have there. Their airline at Piku. When you stop by, you'll see how phenomenal the facility is. You'll walk in, and as I've said many times, it feels more like a spa than a car dealership. And you can see the entire inventory right there on the lot. If you'd rather do it online, you can do that as well. They told me, I was over there last week, that their best seller is, generally speaking, the GV80. It's the mid-size SUV, and it's just a gorgeous looking vehicle to get behind the wheel of. I got behind the wheel of one of them last week. It's so nice, so comfortable, so stylish. They've got the Sport Edition, which is a little sportier, and depending on your family situation, either one may work for you, and you've probably never been behind the wheel of one. So why don't you go by and see them? Say, hey, heard about this with Hunt. Can I just get behind the wheel and check it out? They'd love to give you a test drive today. You can see them airline at Piku. Check the entire inventory online at genesisofbatonrouge.com. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. genesisofbatonrouge.com.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item, we prominently feature it in social media, on our website, but we do it because it's the right thing to do for the community.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team colors, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always, no paywall. It's free.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. For that brand new pool, the pool of your dreams, the custom pool that you've always wanted, Renaissance Homes and Pools, happy to help you out with that. We're going to go through LSU's entire freshman class over the course of a 2-week period. Got 2 more days this week, and then the rest of next week we'll knock out every single freshman in this class for LSU. So let's do it with 2 more today. We will meet the freshmen.
Meet the freshmen. Freshmen, meet the freshmen. They're the newest Tigers on the team.
All right, let's start with Jhase Thomas. Jhase Thomas is a safety in this class. from Destrehan. One of the most highly rated safeties in the country coming out of high school. He was a 4-star recruit by On3, 4 stars by 24/7, 4 stars by ESPN. He was a top 10 player in the state by ESPN and On3. And a guy that 6'1", 185 pounds or so, comes in with a lot of high credentials at Destrehan. Now, he comes into a situation where you've got a lot of upperclassmen in front of you. We talked about him in the first segment of the show today. You're talking about A.J. Halsey coming in, talking about Tamarcus Cooley coming in. Those are veteran players. Deshaun Spears and Joel Rogers right there in front of him as well, Javian Toviano. So that's 5 guys right there who are older players that are going to get to the field more quickly than Jhase Thomas. So it's a comfortable spot for him to come in and just learn. And I think he's learning from a lot of really good players and you're learning from a lot of different players. You've got a lot of versatility. They already mentioned Jordan Gilbert, who's certainly a very old player. So for Thomas, I don't see a route to the field for him there. They like his frame. They like his speed. And LSU has certainly made good on a lot of players from Destrehan over the years. So you obviously got the Jeffersons, and Glenn Logan went to Destrehan. He added Phillip Wright this past year with Jhase Thomas. And so Destrehan's been very, very good to LSU, and Jhase Thomas is kind of the next in that line. Zack Weeks is the second freshman that I want to talk about. I'm going to spend a little bit more time talking about him because his story is obviously very interesting. You're familiar with his older brothers, right? Clearly. But Zack is bigger than his older brothers. West is a fifth-year player, and Witt is a third-year player. And Zack, who should be a senior in high school, remember, he reclassified to come to LSU a year early, should be in high school, and he's bigger than them. LSU, I'll make sure I've got this correct. I didn't bring the roster printed out, so I'll look it up. But Zack, first of all, when you go out to practice, you can look at Zack Weeks and tell that he's bigger than Witt and West, which is hilarious considering the age disparity. And I have to just think about the obscene grocery bills in the Weeks house over the course of the time when you had 2 high schoolers and an 8th grader who was growing up to be that massive a human. But in any event, mom and dad got him fed, and now they're at LSU playing linebacker. And Zack is listed at, he's number 37 or so. My internet's not going, but I think he's listed at 240 pounds. There it is, 6'3", 240. So West, who's 4 years older than him, is 6'2", 235. So it's hilarious to look at. But Zack is big, he is fast, he is physical, and the consensus from the people who knew them in high school was that Zack was the best. Now, West ended up at Virginia, and then Witt ended up at LSU and has become an all-SEC player and a stud. But the ceiling for Zack might be higher because you're talking about, it's not unreasonable at all to suggest that Zack Weeks, when he gets to the field, whether that's next year or the year after, as a 19-year-old, is going to be 6'3", 250 pounds. Like, that is a big dude, and he runs really well. Now, I don't think they're going to ask him to do much of anything this year, especially at linebacker. But he joins a freshman class that's got 5 guys in it that are going to be competing against one another for the heir apparency to Zack's older brothers. Devon Keys is right above them, and Tylen Singleton's right above them. But like Xavier Atkins moved on, you don't have Greg Penn, so you got 5 freshmen coming up behind West, Witt, and Perkins, who are all going to be gone. And I think Zack is probably behind Charles Ross in that pecking order. But again, Ross has worked a little bit at the star position, so maybe Zack is the guy who, with Keelan Moses, who you're competing with there, on the interior is a potential starter next year in what should be his first year in college. But it's not. And physically, he's going to be looked the part already. So I'm really high on Zack Weeks. That's probably biased because I know what his brothers are, but that's part of the equation here. If you look at his ranking relative to the class he reclassified to, you're talking about a guy who's in a state ranking 100th, 41st, 24th, depending on where you're looking, but a 4-star by 24/7 and Rivals, And Rivals actually had him as the number 8 linebacker in that class with the reclassification. So he's someone to get excited about. You put on the back burner. You don't worry about it the rest of this year. But I think that Zach Weeks has a very, very bright future in Baton Rouge. And hopefully his older brothers have monster years this year and move on to the NFL. He's probably next. So Zach Weeks next up on that list. So that's Jhase Thomas and Zach Weeks, part of your Meet the Freshman here on this Friday. If you missed any of the first hour, catch it on demand wherever you find your sound. I spent the first 30 minutes going through my ranking of LSU's position groups. You can find it for free on louisianasports.net. If you'd like to listen to it, go ahead and check it out wherever you find your podcast, wherever you find your sound, Hunt on LSU, or search The Hunt Palmer Show. It'll all end up right there. We're going to pause for national headlines for SportsCenter. When we come back, we'll hear from some of the Saints who have landed in Southern California. Basketball to get to as well. That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
Baton Rouge's home for real rock. It's Eagle 98.1. Foo Fighters. Led Zeppelin. AC/DC. Pearl Jam. And the flagship home for LSU sports. Take us anywhere with the Eagle 98.1 app. Eagle 98.1 is the rock station.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient, and you will have your pool in no time.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972. Service Chevrolet Cadillac, our family serving your family.
For over 50 years.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief: our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority. It's our purpose.
Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Major League Baseball is promoting umpire Jen Powell for Saturday's Marlins-Braves game, making her the league's first female umpire. She'll work the bases Saturday and behind the plate for Sunday's game. Standout rookie outfielder Roman Anthony and the Red Sox finalizing an 8-year, $130 million extension, reports ESPN's Jeff Passan. Confirmation today from Browns coach Kevin Stefanski that rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders will start in Friday's preseason opener against the Panthers. Couple of things to keep an eye on when Sanders is on the field, suggests Pro Football Hall of Famer Joe Thomas.
I think everybody's going to be looking for that explosive playmaking ability, that ability to kind of move in the pocket a little bit and then deliver some impressive, accurate throws down the field. On top of that, what I want to see is how he's going to operate the offense. What's his ability at the line of scrimmage to be able to make checks when he needs to get everybody organized at the line of scrimmage when one of the rookies doesn't line up in the right spot, and just general operation.
Joe Thomas on Unsportsmanlike. Steelers quarterback Aaron Rodgers says he's open to playing in Saturday's preseason opener if asked by Coach Mike Tomlin.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
This is maybe an odd thing to say as we start hour two, but I feel like the shows in August are going so quickly, and at the same time, I feel like the month is just dragging. That's the way it feels to me.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
You're in a different position to me, where you're sitting there tapping your foot for a baby, but I feel like I've looked up with like 20 minutes left to go in every show for the last 2 weeks and been like, this is flying, and then I look at the calendar, I'm like, it's still the 6th. We'll get through August one way or another. That's just, it is, I believe, the slowest month of the year. I think December flies by the fastest because, like, you're not working half the time and everybody's having parties and you're watching Christmas movies and you just got a lot going on, finishing the year off. And then I feel like August is the slow. January is not super fast. I do have a birthday in January and I really like the golf in January.
Yeah.
January and August are probably the slowest two.
Yeah, they call them the dog days for a reason.
Yeah, dog days of summer. But for us, July is the dog days of summer. Let's be pretty honest about that. In terms of content, July is that. But not right now because we got football. The Saints are in camp. They've broken Metairie camp to head to L.A. for a little bit, take a break from the heat, get some good work in. And on Sunday, they will take on the Los Angeles Chargers in the first of 3 preseason games. And I honestly believe this is going to be as fascinating a preseason game as I can remember watching for the Saints. I mean, really. And we'll talk about it for the next couple of days. But I want to get some Cam Jordan sound. To be quite frank with you, the listener, I don't want to misguide you, mislead you. I don't want to breach your trust. We had Cam Jordan sound. We also had some sound from Kellen Moore. And I said, you know what? I don't really need the Kellen Moore sound because he's not the best soundbite. Has literally zero to do with how well he coaches. None %. Zero, sir. But it's not great for our purposes. Cam, generally, pretty insightful, often entertaining, and he's been one of the greatest players in this year's franchise. I'd rather hear from him on a few topics. So let's start on Cam as he now, in his 15th season, is going through another coordinator change. And when you play football for this long, you're going to have a lot of coordinator changes because coordinators change in the NFL a ton. I would suggest that Cam has had reasonable consistency at defensive coordinator, being that his career spans so long. He had Dennis Allen really calling the shots for that defense for a long time. But he is changing, and they're looking at a different defense. So what does Cam think about adjusting to a new look?
I don't even know what number D coordinator this is for me. You know, I sort of seen some of these fronts from the Rob Ryan days, for sure, the Spag days. You know, I've seen influences. It feels like every D coordinator of past has sort of been touched this defense. So I'm finding my familiarities. There's one year where I think it went by a Jack name. I consider myself a defensive end and a complete one at that. I don't know how many more. There's probably 3 of us left. But, if it calls for me to be an edge, label me as such and let me ride. At the end of the day, I want to do whatever's best for the team. I want to win here, and I want to make my case known that the focus this year is figuring out how to get our wins each and every time. There was a time where we could rely on one player or two players to get you 6-7 wins. We're in it. It's going to take all 22 on offense and defense, 33 on special teams to get this job done this year.
So it is an adjustment for Cam from the Dennis Allen days. Clearly the Saints are going to a different front, going to a different scheme, and the responsibilities are going to change even for the guys up front, and that's Brandon Staley's preference. So Cam was kind of asked, okay, well, you've seen this Brandon Staley defense now. What does it look like?
Man, I think this idea of multiplicity, as you see, each and every day, it's like we're installing a new front, new wave, new whatever. But at the same time, it's sort of true in the idea that we're trying to get our edges to play as fast as they can, and I love to hear it. The faster we play, in my mind, defensive ends, edge rushers, whatever your edge component is, that's your premier position. And then, you work in or out, however you see fit. But if the faster they play, the more we crash down these walls, the tighter we make the game, the tighter the pocket is for a quarterback to pass out of, the more we can affect the game.
We heard Sharif yesterday on with us talk about how he's seen Cam Jordan drop into coverage more times in this training camp after a week than he has maybe for the last 10 years combined. And I believe that. It's a different look, and you're going to see that. Now, I don't think Cam is going to play as much as he has over the last 15 years. I think that you're going to see more Carl Granderson, more Chase Young, and you're going to see some different looks from those guys, and then Cam will have his situations to come in and play. And I think that's the best use for Cam at this point in his career. You're talking about a guy who just isn't quite the rusher that he once was, isn't quite the striker he once was. He showed us some flashes at the end of last year. Once Dennis Allen moved on and they kind of changed the way they were doing some things late in the season, it didn't matter for the record. They were already out of everything. But Cam he was more productive at the end of last year than he was at the beginning of last year. So maybe there's something still left in the tank there that he can give them, and you're going to see a multiplicity of roles, which you talked there at the top of that segment. And then kind of the question is, okay, what actually is your role in this defense in 2025?
I see myself as every down, and then they'll direct me accordingly. My job is not to see a role. My job is to say, hey, how can I help my team win? I train with the way I've always trained. I train with the idea that I can impact each and every play, and it's up to you to use me accordingly. If you want a sledgehammer, there I am. If you want a jackknife, I can be that too. If you want somebody who just is a primary pass rusher, guess what? I don't know if you know this, but I should be in one of the pantheons of great pass rushers in the 2000s alone, let alone this team. So whatever that you need, I'm there for it. I think we have a strong edge group with Chase, Carl Granderson, as well as Isaiah Foskey. And I mean, we've seen some talented things from those guys. So I can see why we push towards the future, because that future is going to be electric.
I like that little quote there from Cam. He's obviously angling at the Hall of Fame there, which I'm perfectly fine with. I think his resume stands up as a potential Hall of Famer. I'm not ready to say it's a slam dunk, but I like his chances. I mean, I think he's got a real opportunity to do that. And he says he thinks of himself as an every down guy. And I think that's a fair thing to say. I just don't think he's going to play every down. I think he can do most of the things you need him to do. But I would suggest if it's third down, I want Young and Granderson out there and not Cam. Not that he can't do it. He can't do it as frequently as he once did. You're talking about a guy who was as complete a defensive end as there was in the NFL for a long stretch. I mean, I'll go through his sack numbers from 2013 to 2021. 12.5, 7.5, 10, 7.5, 13, 12, 15.5, 7.5, 12.5. And that is a heck of a run as a defensive end in the NFL. Now you look at the last few years, 8.5, 2, 4. And those numbers, 2 and 4, come in 17 games each. So it's not like, well, he got hurt, so he's out there, he's healthy. He's just not as productive as he once was. So how do you get productivity out of him? Well, you limit his snaps. So I think he's going to play some on first and second downs. I think if there's an injury, he can go in there and certainly give you snaps. I think he's certainly a better option than Isaiah Foskey at this point, who I have very little confidence in. I hope he proves me wrong, but that's just the case, how I feel about it. But that's what Cam Jordan is. Now, he did pressure the quarterback a little bit last year. And the question becomes, can you continue to get those pressures? And then to add to that question, and then can you turn them into sacks? And this is what Cam had to say.
I remember having this conversation Max Crosby's second year with him about, like, dog, I'm getting all these pressures and not converting to sacks. That's just it. Each one of these pressures has potential. You have to be able to capitalize on potential. Sometimes it's that perfect combination of corners taking away that first read, so quarterback has to pat. It's the, hey, I got there fast enough and I have an interior push where he can't step up. Sometimes it's just more than what you give him, but at the same time, you have to keep on giving. The idea of football is you never know when it's your play, so you have to be there each and every time.
To me, this is Cam Jordan's biggest role in the team. You heard the beginning of that soundbite. I was talking to Max Crosby. His biggest asset that he gives to the New Orleans Saints is talking to the younger players and helping them through difficult times and teaching them about how to be a pro and what stats really mean and how to win games, because he's won a ton of games in New Orleans. He's never going to be a 10-sack guy again. That's not going to happen. But he can help. He can help lay the foundation for the next great Saints team. He won't be on it. He's not going to be on the next great Saints team. But he can help the young pieces that will be with that kind of wisdom, that kind of motivation, that kind of advice that you just can't get from everywhere. And I believe this in the pro game as well as the college game, even down to the high school game. I think messaging and leadership that comes from the players, the fellow teammates, as opposed to the coaches, is even more impactful. Because sometimes it can feel like coaches versus players, like butting heads. Teammates are together. They're peers. They're going through the same thing. And so for me, that's Cam Jordan's biggest contribution to the organization moving forward. Being a mentor to the younger players and helping them in whatever way they need help. And that's kind of puts a bow on my thoughts on Cam right now, but he did give sound on the quarterbacks, which is the most interesting piece to this entire puzzle. So I'm not going to leave the segment without getting Cam's thoughts on Rattler's progression as well as what he's seen from the quarterbacks.
Man, I think Spencer this camp is gotten confident. Not that he needs any more confidence, but with his checkdowns, his ability to say, hey, if I don't see it in the air, I can beat him with the feet. You've seen him spring out the pocket a lot more, open it up. Sort of gives that early on Russell Wilson vibe, right? And that's probably high praise because he won a Super Bowl that year. But I think that with his growth and just being in the league for the second, he comes in practice with this determination that nobody ever talks about. But he's a little gunslinger. He's not little. He's 5.
He's not little. But just a little look there at the quarterbacks from Cam Jordan. Probably the most respected player in that entire locker room, now without dispute, since Tyrann Mathieu moved on and decided to retire. So that's a look at the black and gold. We'll have a lot more over the next 2 days as the media gets settled out there in Los Angeles. They're taking in some practice. We'll be able to check in with some of those folks over the next couple of days. So looking forward to that. And then Sunday's preseason game. I can't wait to watch that one. I'm going to settle in and take that entire game in, because I think very rarely do I lock in on preseason football. A lot of guys are going to get cut. But with the Saints and that quarterback situation, you got to watch it. So I'll be locked in on Sunday for Saints and Chargers. We'll step aside, come back, more. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Genesis of Baton Rouge. GenesisofBatonRouge.com is that website. Every car that's on the lot is online at GenesisofBatonRouge.com. You purchase one of those new cars that's on the lot at Genesis of Baton Rouge, well, you get a powertrain warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. You get a new vehicle limited warranty, 5 years, 60,000 miles. That's bumper to bumper on your vehicle. You get the enhanced 24/7 roadside assistance, 5 years, unlimited miles. Complimentary scheduled maintenance for 3 years, 36,000 miles. It's America's best warranty, and it's part of being a Genesis driver. The only fully exclusive Genesis dealer in the state of Louisiana, right here in Baton Rouge. So if you're just outside of Baton Rouge, or one of our listeners over in Lafayette, North Shore, New Orleans, and you're looking for the best in Genesis, well, come to Baton Rouge. Airline at PQ. You will be thrilled you did, because the people, the facility, the line of vehicles are phenomenal. IHA's top safety pick. Every vehicle in the line is a top safety pick. Some of them top safety picks plus. It's safety, it's style, it's all these accessories. It's the people that you work with. It's Genesis of Baton Rouge. Find them online, GenesisofBatonRouge.com, GenesisofBatonRouge.com.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Businesses like yours are the soul of our community. You deserve someone who'll deliver the internet services you deserve. That's why local businesses rely on Rev Business, 90 years of building connections. Visit us at letsrev.biz.
Looking for the ultimate game day experience? Come to the Queen Casino in Baton Rouge. Wall-to-wall TVs mean you'll see every touchdown in HD. Place your bets and feel the thrill of every play with our DraftKings Sportsbook. The Queen Casino, where every moment is a win.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
At Atmos Energy, our Smart Choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
It's not just a game, it's a religion. You've got your team color, team swag, and now your very own website. LouisianaSports.net. Everything LSU, Saints, and Pelicans. Sports on demand. In-depth coverage by sports writing pros with continuously updated news. And with the LouisianaSports.net newsletter, you get pinged directly with top trending stories. Best of all, now and always. No paywall. It's free. LouisianaSports.net. Powered by 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Your home for Louisiana sports.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
At Luba Workers' Comp, our journey began over 30 years ago with a simple belief. Our clients come first.
At Luba, our business has always been focused on people, not policies.
Through every success and challenge, we've continued to grow because we've stayed true to our values, committed to providing you with genuine dependability.
Because your well-being is more than a priority.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Zack, you know how I've told you sometimes when I do this show, I have these headphones on, I feel like I can hear the people driving around yelling at me when I'm talking.
I don't know if you've ever told me that before.
I haven't. I feel like I can hear people either disagreeing with me or telling me I'm an idiot when I'm talking. Because I feel like I can visualize the person driving around Baton Rouge somewhere who just thinks that that's a really dumb thing to say.
Yeah.
I feel like this is going to be one of those segments.
Okay.
So the SEC released its basketball schedules this week.
Oh, yeah.
Today. And I'm not going to go too deep into the weeds here. Y'all know I like basketball. Y'all know I'm disappointed with how the basketball program has gone the last couple of years. And I'm going to say this with the understanding that all of you driving around are screaming at me while I say it, okay? I think they have a reasonable team this year. From what I've been told, they went out to try to work the NIL game prior to last season and went shopping and all of a sudden went, oh, we don't have enough money. They didn't realize with the allotted budget that they were not going to be able to swim in the waters they needed to. And so they upped that this year. They didn't necessarily, they're not Auburn and Kentucky, what those teams are doing. They're not even what Tennessee's doing. But they're more competitive. And they were able to go get some players in the transfer portal this year that some other programs really wanted. So I think they've got a chance to be decent. I'm not telling you they're going to the tournament. I'm not telling you they're going to Sweet 16. I'm not telling you the program is about to take off. I'm not trying to pump unrealistic expectation into the basketball program. I think they've got a chance to be interesting all year long. It's a 3-15 team from last year. I get it. And I would also tell you that I don't know everything there is to know about the SEC right now. I don't have enough bandwidth to go that deep into the teeth of the SEC basketball talent accumulation game until it's time to do that in November. And I will, but I don't have time to do it now. But they did release the schedule, and as I looked at the schedule, first glance, I kind of like how it lays out. I don't see this absolutely murderous stretch that they just can't recover from. Last year, the start to league play was just not manageable for LSU's talent level. It just was not manageable. They weren't going to be able to survive it. If you recall, and now you know what you know, they started with Vanderbilt and Missouri, which were winnable games, and they lost them both. And then they lost at Ole Miss. They beat Arkansas, who had a ton of talent. We know they got to the Sweet 16. Then they lost at A&M, and they lost at Alabama, and they lost to Auburn, and they lost to Texas, and they lost at Georgia, and they lost to Ole Miss, and they lost at Arkansas, and they probably weren't going to win any of those games anyway. Like the beginning was too tough for them to survive. As I look at the schedule this year, I don't feel that way based on the way the programs have generally performed. So here is LSU's SEC schedule in short, and then we'll jump back to football quickly. They're going to open the SEC schedule at Texas A&M. That's a program in transition. Remember, Buzz Williams left. So they've got a whole new roster of Bucky Ball. Their coach's name's Bucky. They're calling it Bucky Ball. Then you come back and play South Carolina. They were atrocious last year. I don't think that's going to be an unwinnable game. Then you go to Vanderbilt, who was decent last year, but it's not one of the best programs in the country, not one of the best programs in the conference. So those three games, A&M, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, none of those are blue bloods. None of those are perennial tournament teams. It's not a murderous start. Then you've got a home game with Kentucky midweek, and Mark Pope's got a good program going there. That's going to be tough. But then you got Missouri, who is fine. It's a fine program. You go to Florida, defending national champs, obviously, going to be difficult, even though they're reloading. And you go to Arkansas, going to be really tough. Cal's got another group full of 5 stars. Then you got State at home, who's been a 500 league team the last couple of years. You're at South Carolina. We just talked about them. You're playing Georgia at home. That's not the hardest game you're going to see. And you got a home game with Arkansas. Like, that's everything I've gone through there is not some sort of 4-game stretch that's just completely untenable. Now, here's where it gets very, very difficult. It's in the middle of February. This is the stretch where they're going to struggle. I can already tell you, but I know where it is. And it's a 4-game stretch at the middle of February. At Tennessee, at Texas, home Alabama, at Ole Miss. That's the 4-game stretch that's going to be a nightmare for LSU basketball. You need to have some hay in the barn before you get to that. But then you finish with Oklahoma at home, who you can play with for sure. You're at Auburn. That's going to be a nightmare. But then you play Texas A&M at home. So the Auburn game is sandwiched with home games against Oklahoma and A&M, who you'll be able to play with. I'm not here to break down the SEC's entire league right now. But what I'm telling you is there's one 4-game stretch where you've got a lot of buffer on the front end and a little bit of help in the back end. And I will say this on August the 6th. I think this team will be in an interesting position when you get to February 15th. I think they will be in some bracketologies. I think they've got a chance to be on the bubble. I did not say they're a lock to make the tournament. I didn't say this is definitely a tournament team. I didn't say they're in the top half of the SEC. I didn't say any of that. I said I think they're going to be in the discussion in mid-February. Beyond that, I'm not willing to put my foot out very far for the way that this program has performed 3 years ago and last year. 2 years ago was okay. Last year, terrible. 3 years ago, awful. But I look at the schedule, I think it's reasonable. You've got the toughest league in America. It's loaded with coaches. They're spending a ton of money in NIL. You got new facilities. It's hard. But you know it's going to be hard, and the committee knows it's hard, so you don't have to win every game. You can get blown out by 30 every once in a while. Come back and win the next one. But last year, they got off to a start that was going to doom them from the time we got to December 15th and I was watching what the SEC was doing in the non-conference, and we were knee-deep in football, and they were trying to make a playoff run, and they were going to College Station, and we were paying attention to that, and we should have been. And we were. But I've got another hand here, and I was kind of looking at what the basketball team was doing, and it was okay. And then I was looking at what the rest of the conference was doing, and I was going, this is a nightmare. And I said it. Right now, before I know everything there is to know, I think this schedule looks okay. So if I'm right now, all I know is LSU's roster and the schedule. And when I put those two things together for basketball, and we'll drop basketball for another 6 weeks after this segment, when I put those two things together, I go, that gives you a chance. I think they've got a chance. At this point, how much more can you expect from that program based on what we saw last year? Then they've got a chance. I would stand here and suggest you don't have much more that you can say about it. I think they got a chance. If you want to look at the new schedule, they've got it at LSU's basketball's Twitter account. The entire schedule is right there. 5 home Saturday games in Baton Rouge in league play. I like that. You got Saturday games at home against Texas A&M, against Oklahoma, against Alabama, which should be a really good crowd. You've got another Saturday home game against Georgia, and then I think there's one more Saturday home game, which is Missouri is the other Saturday home game. Yeah, that's it. So 5 home SEC Saturday games. Obviously, those are going to be your best attended ball games. So that's a good draw for LSU as well. If you want to look at that whole schedule, go check out LSU's Twitter account at LSU Basketball. All right, we got more football to talk about. We'll transition out of basketball, talk some football when we come back on the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
When it comes to industrial construction, River Parish Contractors can do it all. Mechanical, structural, custom fabrication, specialized welding, and turnaround services. Strategically located in between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, we have the local team with the experience and commitment to safety to manage the most complex industrial projects. Period. Here's the deal. Partnering with us means your project is delivered on time, on budget, and most important, safely. River Parish Contractors, let's get building.
At Atmos Energy, our smart choice solutions help customers save energy and emissions with rebates up to $500 off high-efficiency natural gas appliances, smart thermostats, and weatherization upgrades. Together, we're fueling our energy future.
Man, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. Breck, your #1 park system in the nation.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The First time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
We came up with the idea of auctions in August. Gulf Coast Bank does all the work. We display the item. We prominently feature it in social media.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Transition back to LSU football. Been a week of camp. They practice today. They'll take tomorrow off. We'll have an opportunity to go out to practice on Friday. Then Saturday, I just got the email from Michael Bonnet that gives us the time, which is 9:45, and the availability, which will be all of practice. Brian Kelly did say in the press conference that they're going to treat Saturdays as their scrimmage day. So I'm assuming it's a scrimmage setting for Saturday on the practice field, not inside Tiger Stadium. I'm putting two and two together there. I haven't gotten that email, but I think that's exactly what we're going to get on Saturday. So it's early, very early. But I did a piece for LouisianaSports.net earlier today. It was kind of a lunchtime read, put it out 2.5 hours ago, talking about my three top performers of the first week of camp. And I have some honorable mentions here that I'll mention before we get into the three that I actually named on the website. Certainly want to give Jack Pyburn an honorable mention. I didn't list him in the top three, but that's a guy who has shown versatility to play inside and outside, showed a great pass rush move I'm trying to keep my days straight. Great pass rush move in Tuesday's practice. It was yesterday, where he took Tyree Adams a little bit high and then spun up underneath him and got a sack of Garrett Nussmeier. That was really encouraging move because, as we talked about with Pyburn, that's a guy who's proven as a run blocker, run stuffer, but has not proven himself as a pass rusher. 1 sack in his 3 years at Florida. So that was new. And we talked to Pyburn in the spring, and I loved the conversation we had with him. He was talking about how he's been working with Kevin Peoples, and they've got so many pass rush moves that he's been working on. He literally walks around his kitchen table and does pass rush moves. And I think that shows he's determined, he wants to be better, and he's making strides in that direction. So I saw that with the move he made back on Tuesday. So I want to give Pyburn a shout out. He's honorable mention. Kyle Parker is honorable mention for me. Absolutely. He is catching everything in sight. I think he's getting some extra run, specifically with the ones, because Aaron Anderson's not out there. And both of those guys are a little bit on the shorter side. Both those guys can really run routes. And neither of them is, a guy that's going to go up and make a ton of plays over the top, is not going to be a physical receiver, but certainly can create space out of the slot and make some catches in the intermediate passing game. So that's a huge encouraging thing for Parker. I think he's done a really good job. So those two guys I would absolutely give an honorable mention to as far as standouts early in practice. I think Perkins is, and interestingly, they're all P's. That's Pyburn, Parker, and Perkins. Harold Perkins deserves a hat tip for the work that he's put in as well. He's done an excellent job of adapting to that star role, of playing fast despite the injury. I've enjoyed watching him. So those are three honorable mentions. But the three guys that I listed for LouisianaSports.net, I've actually talked a little bit about on the show, but wanted to kind of set this aside as a full segment. I have been really impressed with Caden Durham. And that is with the understanding that at times there's nowhere for him to run. But when there is somewhere for him to run, he's hitting the hole fast. He's making big plays every single day. And I think that he's primed for a big year. I'm in Jake's camp for that. I would suggest you as the listener probably take his word for the running back stuff over mine, just a hunch on that. But I'm agreeing with him, so you can take both of our words on this one. I think Durham's going to be awesome. When you look at Caden Durham out on the practice field, you see a shorter player, but you also see one that is incredibly well put together. And there have been plenty of running backs under 6 feet that have been great players. And Caden's significantly under 6 feet, but he's shifty, he's solid, and he's got great home run breakaway speed. The one thing that I'm looking forward to with Durham this year, and we'll find out at some point. I can't tell you if it's at Clemson. I hope it is. Can't tell you if it's against Louisiana Tech. It probably is. Maybe week 4, Southeastern. I don't know when it's going to happen. But he's going to break free at some point. And I would really prefer it if he didn't get run down. South Alabama caught him on the running play. He scored on the swing route out to him. He scored on that, the first play from scrimmage. Then the second play LSU had, he got a handoff and took it, and they ran him down. He also got run down in Bama game when he busted off the right side, and they ran him down. But I'd really prefer that not happen anymore, and I think it's possible. We know he's a track guy at Duncanville. We know he's a home run hitter in high school. We know how fast he is. I think last year the dislocated toes may have adversely affected his speed once that injury set in. He had the plate in his shoe and his cleat, but I think he's going to be an awesome, awesome back for LSU this year. So he was one of my guys. The second one I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because y'all already know, but I have to mention it just because I would be completely remiss if I didn't. Bernard Gooden's been awesome, and I expect him to be a difference maker on this defense with the way that he can attack from the inside. When I look back at LSU's defensive interior the last few years, Mekhi Wingo's a good player, all-league player, got some All-American honors. Yeah, Mason Smith, huge talent. Productivity, has made an NFL roster and doing well. Jaquelin Roy, drafted by the Patriots, made an NFL roster. You've had some guys with some talent, but your depth has been bad, and you haven't been a playmaking group on the interior. Last year, you had to duct tape it together with Gio Paez, and Paris Shan had to kick down, and Guillory was out, so you had to throw Bro in there, and he started games, and McKinley had to play late, and it was just kind of a mess, and Bo Davis kind of did what he could. But you got a situation where you've restocked the shelves, you've got talent, you've got depth. So not only should Gooden be able to be effective as a quick interior disruptor, but also you don't have to play him too many snaps, and you can put him out there when he's ideally needed. So he can be out there fresh for those pass rush snaps. You want to bring him out when you get into some short yardage type stuff, or want to something like Jacoby and Guillory can go in there and hold his point of attack. So can Don McKinley. And then when it comes in and it's 3rd and 8, and they're subbing in a couple wide receivers, and you get to sub, bring Gooden back in there and let him get up the field. Kick Jack Pyburn down inside, have those guys attack in the middle with Patrick Payton and Gabe Relaford on the outside with Perkins. You line up at the line of scrimmage, and it's 3rd and 9, and you got Perk on the outside, Payton inside him, Pyburn and Gooden on the inside, and Relaford on the other end. That's a problem. That's a problem as far as the pass rush goes. And it's hard to find guys that can rush the passer from the interior. You can find edge rushers. They're there. There are a lot of guys that are 6'4", 6'5", and can run a little bit with long arms. It's hard to find guys that are north of 285 pounds that can take that traffic jam with a center, a guard, a center, another tackle, and then maybe a blitz. There's 5 guys occupying very little space and can find room and get up there and make a play through blockers. Maybe Gooden is that guy, and certainly he showed out, and you've heard about him a lot at this point, and are probably sick of hearing about him at this point. And the last guy I highlighted yesterday at the tail end of the segment, but I wanted to spend a little bit of time doing that for a second day. If you listen every day, all day, you've already heard this, and I appreciate you. If you missed this yesterday, just leaning in today, Ashton Stamps has been great. And I gave this speech yesterday, but I wanted to kind of bring it full circle today. I did not have huge hopes for Ashton Stamps entering fall camp. I thought he'd be a starter. I thought he'd be serviceable. I thought he'd probably be what he's been for 2 years. Because he's been a starter for 2 years. He's been serviceable. He doesn't have an interception. He doesn't remind me of Patrick Peterson. He doesn't remind me of Derek Stingley. He doesn't remind me of Corey Webster. But he's out there, and he's starting. And I'm watching a lot of 7-on-7. You've heard me a couple times say, when Matt goes and watches the one-on-ones with the offensive line, defensive line, I'm watching 7-on-7. And LSU's making some plays in 7-on-7 on the defensive side, which they haven't really done for 2 years. And Ashton Stamps has been a big part of that. Ashton Stamps has won some one-on-ones, which for 2 years, no DB won a one-on-one. Now, that is a massively skewed drill to the offense. We know that. But it didn't happen for 2 years. Ashton Stamps has won some of those. Now, he's gotten beat. First day of practice, Berrien Brown got him over the top. But the next snap, they went to a fade back pylon, and Ashton Stamps went up there and broke it up. This is something that I talk about in every sport. And it's less relevant today than it was 6-7 years ago, but there's still truth in it. When you are thrust onto the field as a freshman, especially when you're thrust onto the field as a freshman in 2023, when those COVID seniors are all over the place, you are 18 or 19 years old playing against a lot of 23-year-olds. That is a big freaking deal. Like in high school, the difference between a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old is massive. And in college, the difference between a 19-year-old and a 23-year-old is massive. And finally, as those COVID seniors age out and Ashton Stamps ages upward, now he is one of the oldest players on the field. Now he has put some muscle weight on. Now he has 2 years of experience playing against the SEC. It just stands to reason all of those factors shift towards him being a more impactful player. And I don't know if his interception total is going to go from 0 to 4 this year. I certainly hope it does. But I will tell you that just going to practice and watching him, the other DBs as well. I talked about this yesterday a lot. But him, more so to me, to my eye, than everybody else, he is making plays on the ball. And that is something you have to have. Line of scrimmage is vital. Quarterback is unbelievably important. But you can't win in this era of college football if you can't cover. And to me, when LSU was needed to cover the last couple of years, especially in season openers, they just couldn't. They couldn't stop Jordan Travis. They couldn't stop Miller Moss in the second half. They couldn't cover. You have to cover. Last year, DJ Lagway got him for some big plays. He couldn't run. He had one leg. But they got beat in the secondary. And I'm not trying to pin all these losses on Ashton Stamps. Far from it. He was the second best corner of the team last year behind Jhase, who was hurt for some of the season. Not his fault. It's a talent level fault on LSU's roster. That's starting to rectify itself. That's something we talked about a lot with what Corey Raymond is doing. So to me, Ashton Stamps absolutely been a standout through a week of practice. The three guys I recognized on LouisianaSports.net, Bernard Gooden, Caden Durham, and Ashton Stamps. I think they've been fantastical. Hat tip, some honorable mention with Jack Pyburn, Kyle Parker, and Harold Perkins. Not that those are the only 6 guys who have made plays, but those are the guys that I wanted to highlight on today's show. So hat tip to those guys. We'll see them back out there on Friday as a media. They'll take tomorrow off for a recovery day. We'll come back and close it out. It's a Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com is the website. Jonathan Carver and his team, phenomenal folks to work with on the insurance side of things. Captives are something that Jonathan and I talk about quite often. And they're here. It's not like it's something that you can't get currently. You certainly can, and that's what I'll be here to tell you about. But captives are really the future, I think, of insurance. Premiums continue to rise. The market continues to harden, and it just becomes tough on business owners. Have you ever gotten creative with handling your insurance program, with handling your premium dollars? Have you explored a captive? Has your broker brought that to your attention? If that hasn't happened, and you're a sizable business that is spending some money on premiums, call Jonathan Carver and his team. Reach out to the Highland Insurance Group online at HighlandIG.com. Say, hey, can we look at a captive? Can I fit into that? They do this kind of stuff all the time. Not every insurance broker is competent in the captive world. The Highland Insurance Group is. And Jonathan Carver and his team want to help you make that move if you are a fit. To make that determination, give them a call. Check them out online, HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
Flight by Yingling is raising the bar by crafting the next generation of light beer. With only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories, this is premium refreshment 6 generations in the making. Flight by Yingling. Raise the bar.
Perish Parish Construction and Roofing.
This is Coach Kim Mulkey. Go to parishbuilt.com for all of your roofing needs.
From your hometown, parishbuilt.com. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe in a dream. Believe. You gotta believe. My whole team on wild.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary. For those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Huh. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Family owned and community driven.
Service Chevrolet Cadillac, a legacy you can trust since 1972.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
.104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge, and Citizens Bank and Trust want to make things a little easier on your budget by making your groceries for an entire year. And even if you don't win the grand prize, we'll also be awarding second chance prizes of $250 gift cards to High Neighbor Supermarkets. It's the free groceries for a year sweepstakes powered by Citizens Bank and Trust. High Neighbor and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Register now at 1045ESPN.com.
The internet's become a little bit of a volatile place here over the last 15 minutes, has it not, Mr. Beck?
Yeah.
Let's just leave it right there.
Yep.
We'll see. The internet can have a lot of fun at times.
They can.
We'll let them have their fun currently, and we'll just finish out the show with a little take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer built for these Louisiana summers. It's hot out. If you're looking for a light beer to enjoy that still maintains that beer flavor, it's Flight by Yingling. 95 calories, 2.6 carbs. Got the awesome clear bottles and the slim cans as well. You can pick one up wherever you find your beers to bring on to the house. If you're on the golf course, on the grill, at a birthday party, headed to the lake or the beach, Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer.
Alrighty, first one, the Chicago Bulls. Hunt, they're bringing back a classic jersey this season, announcing yesterday via a photo shoot with none other than Dennis Rodman. You may wonder or maybe easy to figure out where this is headed. He modeled the 90s era black jerseys with red pinstripes, bringing back the black and red pinstripes. Take it or leave it.
So we're talking red jerseys with black pins?
No, the black.
With, that's bad.
What are you talking about? You don't remember, Hunt? These are classic jerseys from the late 90s when the Bulls dynasty.
I don't like it.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I like the reds and the whites.
Hunt, they wore these uniforms during their best period in history of the franchise.
So. I don't like it.
But they did. They literally did wear them.
I don't remember it.
What do you mean you don't remember it?
I'm going to the whites and the reds.
Paul, do you have a photo of these jerseys? Pull up. Just go search.
Paul's working over there.
Yeah, he is. Go pull up it's the Bulls with Dennis Rodman. They did a photo shoot. He's got the classic black Bulls jerseys with the red lettering and red pinstripes. It's the very thin pinstripes that they used to wear in the late 90s. They brought them back a couple of times in the 2000s. There they are, Hunt.
Is Michael Jordan going to play in them?
No, he's not. He is not.
I don't see him.
All right, hold on. He's pulling them up. He's pulling it up. But no.
I do remember. I mean, I can obviously visualize them. There's not that much that goes into it.
No, but
I feel like
you really don't like those.
I think they look. Their classic is the red and the white. That's what I picture MJ.
Right,
I don't picture MJ
so you're gonna leave
in the black. I'm going to leave it.
Leave it alone. Whatever. They're great uniforms.
With Chicago, I don't like them. Go with the red and the white.
All right, whatever. Next one. Roger Goodell made an appearance on SportsCenter today.
You're so disappointed in me.
I am. You know, I know you're the uniform czar.
That's right.
And actually, for the most part, I tend to agree with you.
Well, how could you not?
Well, because you're wrong sometimes.
I regret big time. We had 5 minutes with Brian Kelly, and I was trying to get football stuff out of him. Now that I think about it a month later, I should have asked him, like, who's in charge of these uniforms?
You should have.
And how do we fix it?
You should have. You really should have.
It didn't come to me at that point. I didn't know we were going to have him. And he was right there, and he's like, yeah, I'll be right back in 3 minutes. And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to ask him? And I just went to the 3 football questions I wanted to ask him. I only had 5 minutes. Uniforms didn't come to the brain.
Well, you must not be the true uniform czar then, Hunt. No, the reason
I choked under pressure.
Yeah, you did. And I am a little, I would have thought that you would have liked these because I think they're great uniforms. But anyway, we'll move on. Roger Goodell made an appearance on SportsCenter today, hinting at the possibility of Red Zone coming to other sports. Of course, everyone began to draw conclusions as to college football being the most likely suitor for a potential Red Zone show. College football Red Zone, take it or leave it.
So, for me, I'm going to leave it. Because I don't want you to ever show me the Georgia Tech Duke game. I don't want you to break in for that. I don't ever want you to break in with Kansas and Kansas State. I don't care. And I have if you got an SEC one, that's fine, but we stack the day so that you can basically watch the SEC game that you want to watch. And if there are a lot of games at one time, that's usually the 11 o'clock slate that's got Tennessee versus UT Martin and Vanderbilt against Boston College. And I don't really care about either one of those games either because Tennessee's going to win by 50, and I don't care about the Vanderbilt game. We never like layer 2 huge games on top of each other, so I need to be kept abreast of all that's going on. It works perfectly for the MLB, and it works perfectly for squeeze play for the baseball regionals because there's a lot going on that you can't keep up with at one time. So you need them to help you with that. As far as football watching goes, I think we've kind of figured that out as a football watching society. Unless you're Phil Steele and you just got to watch 10 games at once, I know what 2 games I need to monitor, and one of them's more important, and I just stick on those. So I'm not poo-pooing the entire idea. I just don't need it because I don't care about the Minnesota-Indiana game.
Yeah, you don't, but there are so many people that literally all they care about is watching college football. They don't care who's playing.
Well, good. You can go watch the Red Zone channel.
Yeah, so that they will probably do that, and it would probably be successful. All right, last one real quick. The Cubs 3-run. Oh, it was 2. It's now 3. Run lead. Dansby Swanson just hit a home run to left.
Yes.
3-run lead in the bottom of the 7th. Cubs close it out. Take it or leave it.
Take it. I'm feeling positive. I'm feeling confident.
Are you now?
It's a great team. We're going to win the division.
Wow. That's a very stark contrast to what you said to me about 3 hours ago.
That's because we're winning 3-0. And that's how that happens.
So you're just a very...
I tweeted this out last night. I've gone to bed so mad the last couple of nights because of this team and this division and the stupid Brewers. It is really unfortunate. We need some positivity. If the Cubs win today, maybe Paul's Atlanta Braves show up for, 9 innings and can beat the Brewers.
Maybe.
That would really make my day great.
It would be. It would really help.
I think it could be a great day. I think the Cubs will finish it off. I think the Brewers will lose today.
Yeah, let's check out who the look, the Braves got Spencer Strider on the mound.
Oh, the one pitcher they have left.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That should be good.
I need 130
Guess
pitches
who's
out of
going
Spencer
for the Brewers?
Mizrowski's on the IL. I think.
Former Cub. Jose Quintana.
Oh,
Q.
God, he's 100 years old.
He's got a 3.50
Hit
ERA.
some homers off that guy.
They should.
Come on, Braves. Paulie, thumbs up or thumbs down on the Braves today?
Today?
Yes.
Strider against Quintana. It's a good matchup.
I'll give you a thumbs up today.
I love to hear it, Paulie.
Yeah,
that's the
that's
kind of
what we need to
confidence
hear.
we're looking for on this Wednesday. We're brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. For the pool of your dreams, check them out at builtbyrenaissance.com. We're done for today. If you missed any of the show, a lot of LSU football as well as some Saints. Check it out on demand wherever you find your sound. Just search Hunt Palmer Show. Matt's going to drive you home on AFR. Next, we're back tomorrow for a Thursday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show.
The Hunt Palmer Show.